morning, ladies and gentlemen, honored vets, service members, and guests. On behalf of the Hazleton Area School District and the Hazleton Area Cyber Academy, I'd like to welcome you all to our ceremony. We are assembled today to recognize and honor the brave men and women who have served this wonderful country. Without your service and sacrifice, we would not be standing here today. Your bravery and patriotism serves as an inspiration to all of us. To our veterans, active duty service members, and reservists, thank you. If you are able, please stand to be recognized. Thank you all. Veterans Day is a time to reflect on the cost of freedom and remember that we live in the greatest country in the world because of heroes like you. We thank you for your service, sacrifice, and your commitment to freedom. As Veterans Day approaches, may God bless you, your families, and the United States of America. Thank you once again for the Hazleton Area Cyber Academy and the Hazleton Area School District. Thank you for coming today from the bottom of my heart. At this time, our JROTC program will now post the colors.
Forward, march! Done. March! March! Halt! Right. Face!
morning. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the national anthem. Thank you. I pledge allegiance for the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rugged reclaim, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Forward. March.
By Ed Cohen. I saw a burial with the people of I turned to my father. What happened? I asked. He touched my hand and a quiver in his voice. He began to explain as his eyes became loose. My son, he said, this is rather difficult. For an old veteran like myself, this is tough to see. In that coffin lies an genuine patriotic warrior, an honest-to-God hero, an American soldier. I appreciate that soldier for the service he gave, and I honor his sacrifice as he laid in his grave. He was honorable, selfless, courageous, and bold. He's remembered as we grow old. The value of his service I must explain. If not remembered, will be lost in vain. As a nation, we are nothing without soldiers like him, and failing to remember would be a terrible sin. I listened in awe as my father spoke. It seemed as if his heart would break. I suddenly remembered when he went to war, and when he returned, I thought nothing more. I never asked why he walked through the bed. I didn't care about why he was there. I was too busy enjoying the life that I had to realize that I had it because of granddad. I finally understood what my granddad was about. And it hurt so bad, I cried out loud. He sacrificed so much so I could be free, and his battle scars were suffered for me. It was my grandfather's spirit that spoke to me that day. I thank God I finally understand what he had to say. I saluted his coffin as they laid him to rest, and I thought about the medals pinned on his chest, that I I am proud that my grandpa was a patriotic soldier. I'm honored to be his grandson and an American soldier.
Good morning. My name is Lane Cross, and on behalf of Hazleton Area Cyber Academy, I ask that today we honor and salute all the many American veterans who throughout our country's history have unselfishly placed their lives on the line for freedom. Today, we remember and pay tribute to all who have sacrificed their lives in all the world. We also honor veterans from every period of peace as well, as they protect what our war veterans fought and died to defend. We remember and honor all our POWs and MIAs. American veterans represent all races and ethnic groups. They are every creed, belief, and physical description. They are your neighbor next door, the owner of the grocery store, and the fireman saving lives. They are the 25 million Americans living today who have proudly worn our country's military uniform, and they are the more than 1 million who have died defending this United States of America. Some veterans are famous heroes who have received a great deal of honors and publicity. Most are not. Most are just ordinary citizens who answered the call of duty when it came. Duty to their country that took them from the safety of their homes and families and often led them to hardship and danger. So, today, as a united and grateful country, let's all remember to thank them and let them know how deeply we appreciate the many sacrifices they made in our name.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset below. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye bring faith with us who die, we shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Reply to Flanders fields by John Mitchell. In Flanders fields the cannons boom, and fruitful flashes like the moon. Up above, like eagles fly, fierce destroyers of the sky. Must stain the earth within your line, and further than the poppy bloom in Flanders field. Sleep on ye brave, the shrieking shell, the quaking trench, the startling yell, the fury of the battle hell. Shall wake you not, for all is well, sleep peacefully, for all is well. Fortune loves me there, a burning heart and loves me fair. To keep the faith, to fight a few, to crush the foe, to sleep with you in Flanders field.
In your honor, unselfishly you left your fathers and your mothers, you left behind your sisters and your brothers, leaving behind your beloved children and wives. You put on hold your dreams, your lives. On foreign soil you found yourself planted to fight for those whose freedom you granted. Without your sacrifice, their cause would be lost, but you carried onward no matter the cost. Many horrors that you had endured and seen, many faces that had haunted your dreams. You cheered as your enemies littered the ground, you cried as your brothers fell all around. When it was over, you all came back home. Some were left with memories to face all alone. Some found themselves in the companies of friends as your crosses cast shadows across the land. Those who survived were forever scarred, emotionally, physically, permanently marred. Those who did not now sleep eternally, neath the ground they had given their lives free. With a hand upon my heart, I feel pride and respect. My reverence is revealed. In the tears that now stream down my upturned face, as our flag waves above you in her glory and grace. Freedom was the gift that you unselfishly gave. Pain and death were the price that you ultimately paid. Every day I gave my utmost admiration to
to those who had fought to defend our nation.
Veterans Day history. Veterans Day is a holiday proclaimed each year by the President of the United States and by the governors of every state. It is a day set aside to honor all members of our armed forces and to recognize their sacrifices in times of war as well as their service in times of peace. The holiday began as Armistice Day in 1919, marking the first anniversary of the Armistice signed on November 11th, 1918, which ended the war. For many years, Armistice Day was observed to remember that moment of peace and the soldiers who had served. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed an act of Congress changing the name to Veterans Day. The purpose was expanded to honor all veterans of the United States military. Since then, Veterans Day has been celebrated across the nation, from small towns and cities to Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C. For a short time in the 1970s, the holiday was observed on the fourth Monday in October, but in 1978, the observance returned to its traditional date on November 11th, where it remains today. On this day, we honor all who served, those who are living, those who gave their lives, those still missing, those who are prisoners of war. We also pay tribute to the men and women who continue to wear the uniform, protecting our nation and freedom, keeping it safe from harm since 1775, with over 2 million people living in Britain's 13 colonies. The American War of Independence began.
Then in 1861, the American Civil War began as 11 states seceded from the Union.
Legendary Titans, General Robert E. Lee commanded Confederate forces.
And General Ulysses S. Grant, commander of the Union Army.
And American soil ran blood red.
Towards the end of the 19th century, in the year 1898, the Spanish-American War began.
Also around the world, there was growing rivalry, hate, and dissent among nations in Europe.
Many countries, especially France and Britain, felt threatened by this.
On July 28, 1940, World War I began.
Nearly 10 million soldiers died.
And World War II began.
Almost 2 years later, on December 2nd, 1941, the Empire of Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in the United States during war operation.
In the decades that followed, turmoil, war, death, and destruction continued to stalk the face of the earth.
In 1965, the U.S. sent combat troops to South Vietnam, west of Vietnam.
A war that almost tore America apart.
And now, in the years that were to follow,
And the winds of war bring us desert storms.
And let us not forget that one year
we also honor those men and women whose lives were extinguished by a blazing inferno, the Twin Towers of Humanity.
Also, those who perished in the Pentagon, including our brave firefighters and police.
Today, our veterans fight for the freedom of all mankind against terrorists, both foreign and domestic, on America, their allies, and everything we as Americans stand for and believe in.
For them and all veterans of past wars and wars now defining the peace of the world,
best on earth, the Veterans Day tribute. If someone has done military service, they earn the title veteran and more. They earn the deepest respect and admiration, that they are a special someone no one can ignore. They sacrificed the comforts we enjoy, built us along with all the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They're loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us they could handle any storm. We owe our very freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional. No other group compares. We're grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers. We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they did. These men and women served us and our country. Our veterans, the very best on earth.
I would now like to introduce Mr. Joseph J. Barletta, former Hazleton area teacher, coach, administrator, and current Hazleton area school board member.
Good morning. Good morning. On behalf of the Hazleton Area School Board, I would like to thank the men and women that have served and still serving in our armed forces. We can never repay you for all you have done for our country and for us. God bless you, and God bless America. It is my honor today and pleasure to introduce our main and our keynote speaker, Marcus Linkenfelter, Marine veteran. Marcus?
With a name like Lingenfelter, you become accustomed to having it pronounced in a variety of fashions. For example, my drill instructor called me Chicken Finger, because he apparently could not find his way to call me by my last name. Anybody who's been to recruit training of any of the forces knows what that's like, don't we? First of all, thank you. Outstanding job. You know, your performance of the Star Spangled Banner is inspiring. I once served on a board with a gentleman who was the mayor of a town called Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, and he told me of listening to this young girl sing the Star Spangled Banner in a basketball game. That young lady is Taylor Swift. And sir, I very much like your third eye uniform. You're looking very sharp today. Well done. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to be back in the mall where I once worked. I once worked at Boscov's very happily. It was a good experience. Everyone should have to work in retail or some sort of customer-facing position to understand what it's like to be on the other side of that transaction. Let me say a hearty thank you, good morning to all my fellow veterans, Bravo Zulu, Kua, and Ura, where I see my Marine fellow right there, Devil Dog. Any other Devil Dogs in the bunch? There we go. See, we have enough for a fire team. We can take this whole mall inside 20 minutes. Kudos to the cyber students and to the parents. My son was heavily involved in cyber school for a good portion of his K-8 education. It did him well. He actually graduated from high school 2 years early and had time to perform his public service before going off to college. So very much a believer in the modality, and congratulate those who have chosen to do it. I want to thank Nikki Gunderman. She goes by a different name now, but she's always going to be Nikki Gunderman to me. It is the daughter of my special human in this community. There was one adult in this community who decided to look past the labels and see me for something more than just a pain in the rear end, and that was Lou Gunderman. He was my coach. He's still my friend to this day. He has counseled and shepherded many in this community, and it's heroes like Lou, like many of the veteran heroes in this room, that don't ever seek accolades, and yet they deserve them in spades. So thank you, Lou, for helping make me the person that I am today. I am a veteran of the Marine Corps, and my family covers all of the service branches, including Space Force, 4 generations. I was not always destined for the Marine Corps. I was supposed to do in the Army, had Army outfit since I was a kid. Grandpa and Dad were both Army officers, and I had woods behind my house, so naturally I played in the woods, pretended that I was in combat, and dove to the deck, and me and my buddies, we would simulate the sounds of enemy fire incoming. And I was destined to serve in the Army. I was ready to sign up, and my brother took me for a run. My older brother, he was very well in school, decided he wanted to be a minister at age 14 and played Jesus in the high school play, so you can try calling that act growing up. He took me for a run, and he made the most compelling argument one could make to a 17-year-old boy about why he should join a certain branch of the service. Girls will dig the Marine dress blues more than the uniforms. So, just in case there's any misunderstanding that I was there ready to storm the beaches or take the hill or take down enemy fire, that was not me. I wanted out. I wanted to be an adventurer, and it was not going to happen here. And I knew I was not destined for college at that point. So the military provided a very good entree to do that. Finally, before I get into the heart of my remarks, I want to say kudos to the color guard. I used to do that, as I suspect many in this room have done or are still doing color guards for those who are service members who have departed and deserve a graveside funeral or for parades. It's a tough gig walking down in this and maintaining your composure. So mad respect to the young people who did the color guard. I see you back there. Well done. You've been trained well. You know, there's a quote inside of your pamphlet that is from John F. Kennedy, and it's about veterans, but I'm going to steer you to a different idea. He arrived at Cape Canaveral and was doing a tour, and he spoke to a janitor, and some of you probably know this story, and he asked the janitor, "What do you do here?" And the janitor replied, well, I'm here to put a man on the moon, Mr. President. That is the kind of purpose that everyone feels when they join the military. That you hand over part of yourself to something that's much greater. In this case, not just the country, it's not just the flag, it's an idea. An idea that humans can self-govern with respect, with equality, with truth at the center of it. But most importantly, that they self-govern. They're not governed by others, they govern themselves. And that idea is worth defending. That project is still ongoing. The runtime now is 250 years, and it's uncertain how it's going to play out. But veterans are the one group of our citizenry that say, I sign up to be part of the defense of that idea. Now, I liken joining the military to being the modern day adventurer. We do so much in our lives to make sure we have comfort, convenience, and control. I tease my girlfriend about this all the time. She lives in the 3 C's, I call it: comfort, convenience, and control. Every part of her life is manufactured to make sure that she is comfortable, everything is convenient, and she has maximum control of her settings. Well, those 3 words are nowhere in the lexicon of military service. You do not have comfort, you do not have convenience, and you rarely, if ever, have control, and yet you're expected to try to maintain it. So the young people that sign an oath, they are the modern day adventurers. They don't get on ships at the shore and sail off to foreign lands the way the adventurers of the 17th century might have, but they're adventurers none the same. First time I ever got on a plane was Wilkes-Barre-Avoca Airport to go to Parris Island, South Carolina. I was 18 years old. I've now flown so much that I had that bougie status on airlines where they drive me around from one airport plane to the other. But it all started here. I'd never taken a flight before. And most of the guys that I served with had never flown before. Most of the guys that I served with had never left their hometowns, which I'm sure is very similar to many of you. Boot camp was the most diverse experience of my life. People who didn't look like me, sound like me, pray like me, live like me. They were nothing like me, except they were all like me. And we were all shown very quickly how much we were alike. It's an amazing thing, the military. They can take an average citizen in somewhere between 8 and 13 weeks, transform them into an instrument of US policy. And those policy instruments are then deployed around the world in some of the most thrilling and yet boring circumstances anywhere. We have 25-year-olds operating machinery that is so sophisticated and has more zeros behind it, and yet they come home to a much different scenario. The US military is the best at training. So if you want to be an adventurer, and I'm talking to you, adventurers to be, we've already done our adventuring. The veterans in this room have already been out to sea. They've already been on their adventures. It's up to you. You will get the best training. You'll get the best equipment. And there's skills for a lifetime. We are a rare breed, us veterans. I'm sure you know that. We're just 6% of the population now. In 2020, the number of millionaires and billionaires in America exceeds the number of veterans and service members. There are more of those who have chosen other than selflessness, shall we say. So our society has lost its pillar of selflessness. Because to join the military means to give of yourself to others, to your brothers, to your sisters, to your purpose. And that kind of selflessness is now in short supply. I am very frequently the only person, or have been throughout my career, the only person in my organization that was a vet, maybe 1 or 2 more. The skills of adaptability, resilience, persistence, problem solving, all things that every employer seeks and every community needs to stay together, but yet you don't find it in a lot of places. You will find it in the military. Risk, uncertainty, overwhelming odds, those are table stakes for military. That's part of the job. You become accustomed to it. And as you become accustomed you come back to civilian life and you're able to deal with the complex problems that we face with a much greater sense of clarity. You know, my coach here, he used to make us run as discipline. If you did something, it was a poor judgment, you were sent running, which wasn't a bad policy since it was in our advantage to run faster and his advantage for us to run faster. So it was a real circular move there. This society of ours has become the young person on the couch who cannot get up and run a mile. We do not have the resilience, we do not have the adaptability, we do not have the persistence, we do not have the drive. We don't have the education, and we don't have the physical fitness. Joel Klein and Condoleezza Rice cited this problem more than 15 years ago, the Council for Foreign Relations citing a national security crisis at the level of the nation's education and health fitness. That if we are forced to mobilize in any kind of significant way, we're going to be in a world of hurt. So we go on these adventures. I went across the country. It wasn't war, but it was still different. I saw things and met people that I never would have otherwise. I could do things I never would have gotten to do otherwise. Mine was a fairly light experience. Judging by the battle ribbons and the badges and the designations of everybody in this room, I suspect you've got a lot of stories of warriors, wise warriors in this room that you could tap into. And that's what I'm going to speak about what happens when they come home. It's almost an interesting cocktail that happens when you're in the military. You have that companionship, the camaraderie that is nothing like anything else, except for maybe a sports team or a family, but rarely in sports team and families are you required to give up your life for one of another. The purpose that I spoke of, that sense of President Kennedy saying, what are you here for? I'm here to put a man on the moon. We're here to protect self-governance. We're here to protect our democracy. We're here to keep our land safe. And the tempo, the pace, it's also thrilling, it's also exciting. Okay, what happens? You have all of that mix of cocktail. It makes you feel superhuman, does it not? You put these uniforms on, you pick up that badge, you march forward, you feel invincible. But what happens when you come home? You come home to a society that values selflessness, but not as much as selfishness. We are configured to praise selfishness. We're configured to praise pomp, nonsense, show, flash, not substance. Why? Why do we do that? Veterans have the worst suicide rates of any group. They're homeless more often than most. They have unemployment issues. There's clearly a transition issue. The return to the regular world after being an adventurer for even just 1 or 25 years has a transition cost. But we as a society have not done enough to make sure that transition cost is minimized, if not negated entirely. I would forgo every future thank you for your service in favor of calling the VA and demanding that the programs are funded properly. Going to the homeless shelter and ensuring that the people there know they're cared for, at least for a moment. We must reconsider how we do this. Veterans have marched on Washington before. The bonus army, after World War I, went to Washington looking for its bonus, and it was met with US troops and pushed away. So we have not a great track record with caring for our veterans, but communities can. Everyone in this community, of course, can do something while the structural problems of our society are being addressed. So let me finish it this way, and I have a special treat for all of you, and your teacher was on, so if you really like it, you can thank her. If you really don't like it, you can blame me. What will you do to be more selfless? What can you do in your daily, weekly lives? What can all of us do to be more selfless to think about the others that some people want us to demonize, but the others who are humans every bit like us. We're all in this together. Nobody gets out of this, and no one's coming to save us. So it's up to us, and it means we have to be more selfless. How can we deal with food insecurity for our fellow citizens? Many of them are probably veterans. What can we do to help the veteran service organizations? I see a few of those veteran service organizations in this room. I bet they would love for you to come and visit with their membership, hear the stories of those adventurers that went across the world and what it was like and how it changed them. And I want you to make a commitment that you're going to do something this week. If you want to receive the special thing I brought you, I want you to make a commitment. You're going to do something this week to show that you can be more selfless. Yes? 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 Very good. All right. So here's what it is. There's a tradition in the military called the challenge coin. Who's got the challenge coins on them? Ladies? Huh? Who's got the challenge coins? This was my first challenge coin ever given to me. It's interesting because it was given to me by a gentleman by the name of Paul Tibbets of Fort. Anybody know why that name is familiar? This gentleman shaking his head. Who's Paul Tibbets II? Paul Tibbets II flew the Enola Gay. We all know the Enola Gay, right? What's the Enola Gay? You all in that school? Enola Gay? Enola Gay was the name designation given to the B-29 that dropped the very first atomic weapon on Mother Earth. 80 years ago this summer was the first time we ever did that. The last time we ever did it, actually, was 80 years ago. And who would believe that it's a threat again? Right? That was my generation's problem. We were supposed to be done with that nonsense. But yet here we are again. Nuclear proliferation is back on the ticket. But I met Paul Tibbets IV in service of the Whiteman Air Force Base. I had a job as a DoD contractor, and I got to go around the country serving all these bases. And he gave me this coin. It's got a B2 on the back and his name on the front. His nickname, his call sign was Nuke. I guess if you're the grandson of the guy who dropped the first nuclear weapon, that's a tough legacy to carry. Ironically, he commanded the same squadron, 509th Bomb Squadron. Obviously, decades later. So we're going to give you each your own coin. I've got a bag of challenge coins that I have collected from bases and generals all over the country. And you're all going to get one of these, okay? You could trade them, and maybe your teacher will give you an assignment where you research what's on the coin and figure out what it's all about. I'm going to ask Ms. Gunderman to come up and help me to deliver these, because she knows you. Okay, this one. Let's do this. Now, there's a special way to do this. Look at that, tearing the whole thing apart. You put a Marine in charge, and this is what happens. The fine folks at Whiteman Air Force Base gave me the microphone on 3 different occasions, and I got an entire hangar full of airmen to say, "Ooh, raw." The general said, "That's never happening again." All right, so here's what happened. So I'm going to have this in my hand like this. And you're going to put out your hand, shake my hand, and that's how you're going to receive the coin. Okay? This is a statement of honor that is given to typical Marine. There we go. See? We do have a type, actually. All right, so you can pick which one you want for which person. Just all right, who's first? Young lady, let's start. You all good if we do the band? Let's do the band. To make this easy, I'll come to you. You stand, either you stand up in your direction. You count. Are you set? One team, one fight, right?
That's where the guy in the back coordinator, he don't know.
Back around to you.
Agile, mobile, hostile.
That's how you were drafted? That gentleman raises a very important issue. We have an all-volunteer force in America. People choose to do this. Service takes many forms. It doesn't have to be with weapons. You can serve your society, you can serve your community. If you have the service mindset, that it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about how do I serve everyone. And I'll leave you with this. There's a 12th century Tibetan legacy about the Shambhala warriors. And it calls for a time when the dark forces have taken hold. And the Shambhala warriors must rise up. They don't wear uniforms, they don't carry weapons, they don't walk in formations. But in their own way, with courage and wisdom, they deliver compassion to all in society. Because ultimately that is what we need. We will no longer have the need for armed forces once all forces lead with compassion. I wish you all well, and thank you for this marvelous opportunity to come back home and do this. Rob.
In honor of all POWs of all wars, upon the sharp edge of eternity where the citadel of man's hope dwells, we hear your voice in the midst of the world. We hear your sigh, your anguish and cry, in the thunderous and pulsating heartbeat of mankind's grief. Be not afraid, you are not alone. We are at your side in spirit and prayer. Have no fear, weep not, for you are the symbol of our contemplation. We will search for you even if we must search in the arms of infinity, the very depth of the ultimate fear. For us, you are the embryo of all that is going to happen. You not only gave your time for the freedom of other men, you gave your everything. Angels will slay with burning swords those that burn you into the hottest field. But behold, because of you, the voice of light. We will not rest until you are with us again, even if infinity becomes exhausted. We will not rest, not stop our search. If armies must march over us, we will not retreat from our quest. We call into existence each and every one of your names because you are our love, our bond, our blood, and the courage of the earth. Fear not, sigh not, weep not, because we are coming for you. We are coming for you now.
How are you? How's Mary? Mary, how's Mary?
You're good. Great job. Honest to God, great job.
And in closing, Dr. Robert Mohalik, Hazleton Area School District Assistant to the Superintendent.
Thank you. Corporal, what an amazing word of encouragement for our students. I really thank you for sharing your story. It's very, very awe-inspiring. Before we conclude our ceremony, I'd like to take just a moment to share a few words on behalf of the Hazleton Area School District and our Cyber Academy. Today has been a reminder of what it truly means to serve, to put others before yourself, to protect the freedoms we sometimes take for granted, and to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. To our veterans here with us and those joining us virtually, please know that your service and sacrifice have not gone unnoticed. You've inspired generations, including the students here today, to live with courage, compassion, and commitment. To our students, I encourage you to carry this spirit forward. Whether you're learning here at our Cyber Academy or anywhere across our district, remember that leadership and service begin with small, everyday choices. The way you treat others, the way you contribute to your community, and the way you use your voice to do good. On behalf of our entire district, thank you to every veteran and family member for the example you set and the freedom you helped preserve. May we always honor your sacrifice through our actions, our gratitude, and our continued commitment to one another. Thank you, and God bless our veterans, our schools, and the United States of America. Now, if I may, just very quickly, we have to thank, and Corporal said it so wonderfully, but Mrs. Meckes, as I know her now, you know, last year when the position was thought to be coming available here at the Cyber Academy, she came very highly recommended to us, and myself and her principal, Mr. Bonomo, reached out to Nicole, and the one thing she said before anything was, can I celebrate the Veterans Day? And that was it. And if that was in, she was in. So that's how much this means to her and how much you mean to her. And of course, all of our staff to turn this, which was, I think, the Hallmark store, into a moment of celebration for you guys and women. So incredible. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you to our staff, our principal, our coordinators, Mrs. McBride, Mrs. Michelle Medic, I know is here, and Mrs. D'Amato, and all of our teachers. Thank you so much. And let's enjoy a little refreshment.
So now if everyone would remain seated and allow our teachers and Cyber Academy faculty and staff to serve all of you. We'll be around to provide refreshments and lunch that's been so generously donated by Mission Barbecue. Thank you.